I've got a sales thought of the day that has to do with processes and following each step in the process. So let's use an example. Let's use an example of if we were traveling from Davenport, Iowa to Los Angeles, California. So if we were traveling to LA from the Davenport area, what we could do is just jump on 74, take that to 80. 80 runs west and east, and we could take that out west, and eventually we'd probably get to LA. At least we'd be heading in the right direction. Now, if we hadn't planned that trip, several things probably could happen. Is one, we would get lost along the way, get frustrated, and just decide to stay where we're at, or decide to head back home and just forget the whole thing, forget the whole trip. The other way is we possibly would continue to head out west. We'd make lots of wrong turns, we'd get lost. It'd be an upsetting trip. If our family was with us on the trip, we probably have a lot of whining, a lot of people upset, a lot of arguments, that type of thing. We eventually would get to LA. However, because the whole process took so long and it was an unpleasant experience, we'd probably decide, hey, you know what, we're never going to do this again. Now, those would be if we had not planned. Now, let's say that we had mapped it out and planned. We said, hey, you know what? We've got some relatives we want to visit in LA. However, along the way, we'd like to make some fun stops. We'd like to stop at some different destinations along the way and have a little bit of fun. So if we planned this thing out, we would know exactly when we were going to stop. We'd drive for 8 hours, 4 hours, switch drivers, then drive another 4 hours for an 8-hour day, stop in South Dakota, maybe see some different sites, the Badlands or something to that nature, and then take off the next day. So we would eventually get to LA. We'd get to LA on time, possibly even ahead of schedule, because we had stopped and we had it planned out so well that the trip was smooth, was exciting, was fun, had a blast. And you know what? We decide, hey, let's do something like this again. So that would be the trip to LA. Now, if we take that same trip and we make that, and we look at that as an analogy for following the sales process, it kind of works the same way. We could make a sale by just greeting a customer and just kind of working our way through it with no plan, no direction. However, the same things would happen if we did that with no plan, no following, no direction, or no process for the sales process. What could happen is it gets stalled, the customer gets frustrated and just decides, you know what, I'm going to leave here and go someplace else, or just decide not to do anything. The other way it could go is that we fumble and we move through that sales process. We do eventually end up making a sale, but there's a lot of wrong turns, there's a lot of kicking and screaming, there's possibly people getting upset, heated conversations, and we make the sale. However, you as a salesperson and the guest both decide, hey, we don't ever want to do this again. So it'd just be a one-time sale. And in automotive sales, we're looking to have customers for life. So if we followed the process, it would be like that trip to LA that we had planned. It would be fun, it would be exciting, there would be a good time had by all, and at the very end of the process, we decided we liked it so much that we'd like to do business again with this client, and they'd like to do business again with us. So it doesn't really matter whether, again, what your sales process is, it's following that process, and go ahead and planning that out and realizing that if you follow a process, it makes everything smoother, easier, and can lead to customers for life. Thanks.